How better go, how better go there, how better go there, how better go where, how better go here, better go here, how better now, better go.
Over-the-counter tax lien certificates, what are they and how does it work? Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas, and I've been involved in the tax lien certificate business for over 30 years. Now, in the United States, there's over 3,000 plus counties. All of those state governments have a legislature that makes rules, and those rules in each state require them to collect property taxes. Now, the rules are always in the statute book. Anybody can go to the statutes and look them up. You can get them at the library. You can get them on the county website, and so you can know what the rules are. We're not really going to talk a lot about those rules, but what they do is they mandate the tax law, which says all property owners must pay property tax. And if they don't, there's going to be consequences, which all the enforcement is going to take place by the Board of Supervisors and the county commissioners. So there's no secrets. The legislature develops the rules and for tax defaulted property and tax lien certificates. Today our lesson is about over-the-counter tax lien certificates. What are they and how does that work? So we're going to learn a little bit about that, and you're going to find out it's pretty simple, but people want to know about the over-the-counter sales. So that's what we're going to talk about. So this is a legal filing when they file a tax lien certificate. All right, so that means that the property owner has failed to pay the mandatory taxes. So the county is managed and administered by the local Board of Supervisors and county commissioners. And they will direct the official county treasurer, they'll direct the treasurer to levy the tax, try to collect the tax. If they can't collect the tax, they're going to do something about it. And they'll seize the property in many cases, but in some states and counties, there's 1,500 counties will sell tax lien certificates. So they're going to issue a tax lien certificate. All right, they could confiscate the property, but they'll do that afterwards if they can't collect on the tax lien certificate. Now, there's over 3,000 counties in the United States, but about half of those counties, about 1,500 of the counties, will have tax lien certificate. So this episode is referring to tax lien certificates which are sold in those 1,500 different counties. You can look all those up online. Now, the states that sell tax lien certificates, they're very benevolent states. Now, that's a word I use. They don't consider themselves benevolent, but what happens is they don't throw the property owner off the property. They do not push them off the property. When the person is in default on a tax lien certificate, they stay on the property. They remain on the property even though they're in default. So they're in default. That means you can't go to that property. You can't push them off the property. You don't have any ownership. All you bought with a tax lien certificate is a piece of paper that allows you to collect money. So tax lien certificates are sold at auction.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get her going here. Start me off. Where to bid to go? How about $1,000? Open it up.
Okay, you can find out about them on the county website. You can find out about them in the newspaper. And the property will stay in default until such time as the owner comes forward and pays the tax and the outrageous interest rate that has been developed. So the process takes place as a result of an owner defaulting on the property tax. All right, now these can all be found, as I say, at the county records, and they publish them in the newspaper. Anyone can purchase a tax lien certificate. All it takes is money to pay the county to purchase the certificate. All right, now the money that the county receives, they use to pay their bills. Now, what does that mean? That money is used to pay the firefighters, to pay the county officials, to pay the county employees, to pay the police department, to pay school teachers. You're getting the idea. Libraries, hospitals, so on. So dozens of county bills are paid from the property taxes. So this episode is all about over-the-counter tax lien certificates. How do they work? So I'm going to go into that now. All right, so at the live auction, they're going to try to sell the tax lien certificate. If they can't sell the certificate, what are they going to do? Well, they'll wait till the next auction. They'll try to sell it there. They might wait 2 or 3 times trying to sell it. If they can't sell the certificate, what's going to happen? Well, the county is going to transfer that certificate from the auction list over to the county. It'll be on a different list, which will be called surplus lands or forfeited lands or defaulted tax liens unpaid. They'll have a different name for it, but it'll be sold over the counter. Now, what does all that mean? So what does over the counter mean? Well, if the county hasn't got it on a regular list, they've got it at the treasurer's office, and you can walk in the treasurer's office, and there'll just be a big counter there. It could be a table or a counter that's built, and the county employees will be on one side, you'll be on the other side, and you'll ask to buy properties that didn't sell at a tax defaulted auction. All right, so the county is holding the certificate, and they'll hold it for as long as they can. What does that mean? If they can't get paid, they have nothing else to do but hold the certificate. But the certificate remains for sale. So you can go and buy that certificate over the county. So if you show up there to buy over the counter, it's just nothing but a giant desk. They'll give you a list. They'll have a list of tax lien certificates that haven't sold at the auction. Now you can pick out whatever one you want. It'll have a number. Every property has a tax number, just like you have a ID number, which is called your Social Security. And that tax number then will lead you to the property. So you need to look at the property before you buy it. I mean, what if it was in a ghetto? What if it was next to a dump? What if it was next to a chicken farm? Well, you might not want any of those properties because nobody's going to redeem them. They're just going to, there's worthless properties. There are many worthless properties. All right, some of them have tax certificates. You don't want a worthless property because you're never going to be able to sell it. The certificate still has value. It still has the ability to make you money if you buy the right certificate. So you don't want to buy certificates on junk property. Now, I'm not going to go into junk properties, but you get the idea. If it's next to a pig farm or a chicken farm, a lot of people are not going to want that property, and you're not going to be able to sell it. So give that a lot of thought. Okay, now this is an alternative investment for people. Anybody can buy tax lien certificates. Now, these are tax lien certificates that did not sell, so the county has now taken those over and put them on another list, which you can buy them over the counter. They're not trying to hide them. They're there. You can go get the list. You can look all through the list. You can research every property, and they're happy to sell that tax lien certificate. What will they sell it for? For the same price they would have sold it at the auction, except now there's no bidding. So there's no up or down bidding on the certificate. Whatever you bid, and you're going to have to make at least the minimum bid, and there won't be anybody there to bid against you. So that might be just a real good way to do business, especially if you know you bought a property that has a lot of value. All right, now the county treasurer's office has this large counter built there, and that's what people are referring to that say over the counter. Now, it might just be a desk, and the county officials on the other side of the desk gives you the list. You pick out which one you want. You go to check the number. You go check the property out, and then you pay them. You buy the certificate. That's purchasing over the counter. Some counties will have thousands of these certificates that have never sold, and they're at the county records. So it's another way to do business. Is this normal? I call it an alternative investment, and I call tax liens and tax deeds, I call them alternative investments as against putting money in a bank or insurance company. All right, so anybody can get the list. You can go there and look at them, and any property that you want to buy, believe me, they're ready to sell. All right, so if you have bought a certificate, now you have to go through all the same process that you did at a regular auction, and what's going to happen is if the people don't come in and pay, you're going to end up with the property. So don't buy a junk property. All right, now when you get a property at a tax auction, in other words, you bought the certificate and the people don't pay for it, if they don't come in to redeem it, you're going to end up with a property with no mortgage and no deed of trust on the property. Remember, you're not buying real estate when you buy a tax lien certificate. What you are buying is the right to get revenue. You're purchasing a certificate that generates revenue. If the certificate goes unpaid, well, then that's going to be a whole different story, because then the counties ask you to do a foreclosure process, and you're going to take over the property. So that'd be a very inexpensive way to buy a property, buying it over the counter. Now think about that. So if you could buy a property for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, and it had no mortgage and no deed of trust loan on it, and then you could put a sign in the front lawn, or you could put it on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, or think about Trulia and Zillow, any one of those. What if you could buy it for 10 or 20 cents and sell it for 50 or 60 cents? Well, there'd be a nice margin there, wouldn't it? You're buying it down here low, selling a little higher, make yourself a nice profit. Nothing wrong with that. So what are we talking about today? This episode is all about over-the-counter tax liens. What are they, and how do you go about doing it? Well, that's what we're talking about. They're the same as a regular tax lien certificate. You're just buying it because it was left over. You're buying it directly at the county office. Now, could you do that online? In many counties, you're going to be able to do the same thing. All right. Now, all the money that's coming in from these tax lien certificates goes to the same place. It goes to the county to pay for all of the county's bills. So you can do the same thing. All right. If you buy a tax lien certificate and the people don't pay you, you're going to end up with the property. That means you can sell the property and make a generous profit on every one of those properties. All right, now this is a business. You don't need a license. You don't have to go to the governor and take a test and do all that stuff. And you can make real money. It's just an informational business where once you learn how to do it, you could be doing the same thing for the rest of your life. Okay, now everyone can give you advice about tax lien certificate. I mean everyone gives you. Young people give you advice about it. Old people give you advice about it. People you don't even know will give you advice about it. Well, if they haven't studied tax lien certificates or tax deeds, whether it's a regular tax lien certificate or one over the counter, if they don't know about that, you don't want to take their advice. Why? Because they haven't studied it. So they don't mean their intention isn't bad, but the problem is you're going to end up in a bad situation. So you need to learn this. If you can't learn it anywhere else, go to the county and ask a lot of questions. If you want, we have classes that we teach people a lot about. The important thing is to realize that if you got unqualified people teaching you, you're going to be pretty unqualified and you're going to get yourself in a big pickle. All right, now if you're looking for decent returns on your nest egg, it's going to be tough to get them now. Why? Traditional investments are a problem in high inflation markets. So now we're going into a high inflation market. The problem is the bank rates are way down, so you can't just put your money in the bank, and the inflation is going up, so that means your investments could be going down very easily. So regular investments aren't working so well. This is an alternative investment. So I'm not a pessimist. I don't have any negative to tell you about. But by the same token, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This business works as an alternative investment, but you've got to study and you've got to understand yourself. So if you don't understand tax liens and deeds, then you've got to start doing that. You need to follow a very specific system if you plan on making money in this business. In my business, in my opinion, I should say, it's not going to happen at the local bank or the local stock exchange. All right, so let me button it up. You see those little white circles? That's how many auctions are taking place within that state in the next 90 days. This calendar updates every single day. I'm here today to show you how to make money. To do that, I'm going to show you briefly that there are thousands of tax defaulted real estate properties across the 3,000 plus counties in the United States. This is quite interesting. You're looking at the Ted Thomas Magic Interactive Map and Auction Calendar. It changes every day. Now, I created the calendar and the map so I would know how many auctions are taking place every day in the United States. Now I can show the little guy how to make money. Most importantly, I created this system so I could have an auction list for each auction 24/7. In the small population counties, there's dozens of properties that are coming up for tax defaulted auction, or there could be dozens of tax lien certificates. In the large population counties, there's going to be hundreds and even thousands. I've been to tax defaulted auction with 2,000 or 3,000 properties that are for sale, and I've been to tax auctions where they have 30 to 50,000 tax lien certificates. My point is, it's really a business of abundance. You can buy them over the counter, you can buy them at the auction. Now, before I go, I want to tell you about two mistakes. Mistake number one, don't buy a property at auction or a tax lien certificate if you haven't looked at it. You need boots on the ground. It could have been a fire, burned the building down. Could have had a hurricane that was there. Maybe it's next to a pig farm or a chicken farm. You want to check it before you buy the property. While you're there, look at the area. Are you going to be able to resell it? You need to have an exit plan. Who are you going to sell it to? What is the price going to be? So my name is Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget, request your free auction list right below me.